What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and I hope everyone had a great Easter weekend. We're going to be taking a look at what's going on this week in the markets. As you guys know, I think that we have much lower to go by the end of the year for Bitcoin, September, October area. I'm going to show you in all the charts why I'm seeing topping signs and what my targets are. Definitely stick around for the whole video. We'll also take a look at the end at my Tesla targets, where I am a buyer, and I've been saying that for about a year now. I'm still looking for that target. I'll show you why, and let's get into it. We'll also talk a little bit about bubbles, how they pop, what they look like, and what Bitcoin looks like compared to other bubbles. So if you guys would take a second out, smash that thumbs up, leave your comments down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you tick that notification bell to get you notified when I post new videos. So as you guys know, we've been watching the Dow right in here, and I had told you, I stay bearish on the Dow unless we break this top trend line. And right now is around, let's move it over to where we're at today. Every day we can move this because it is a descending trend line, about 33.9, 34, we'll just say 34 even. If we can break above that and actually hold for, you know, more than a day, more than 2 days, but if we actually hold that and continue up, then and only then will I believe that possibly we could go much higher in Bitcoin, because as I've stated many times, Bitcoin is wholly dependent on traditional markets. I don't care what anyone says until that's proven wrong. It is totally dependent. It is a risk asset. People get out of risk assets when markets fall. Also, I've showed you guys in the past that gold falls, silver falls, everything falls with the markets except for the DXY. The DXY rises. Smart money gets into DXY. DXY gets to be up high where it's worth a lot while markets are low, and then they can use that high dollar to buy the markets at the bottom and ride it up again forever while the dollar comes down. A lot of people say the dollar's dead. It's not dead. Not dead yet, guys. I know everybody would love to believe that because that's the narrative they push for Bitcoin, but let's take a look at what's going on. So we're getting major resistance at our golden pocket area right now. We broke this high just by a little bit, kind of like a bull trap here in the Dow Jones. I do believe we continue down. You guys know my targets are 30,800 down to 30,222. And if we are getting into a major bear market, like I believe possible, we could see much lower lows down in the 20s. So just be cautious, be careful there. Let's take a look at S&P. So the S&P, told you guys, we are in this rising channel. Unless we break above it and continue up, that would have, obviously, it would come up to this range to break this high. But unless that happens, I'm still bearish on this, guys. This looks like, here's my targets. As long as we don't break up and out of this rising wedge or rising channel, 3402 is my first target. Maybe get a bounce around in here for a little bit, but if that breaks, looking for down to the anywhere from 26 to 3,000, somewhere in that range. So nevertheless, here's why I'm looking at that. If we look at it on the weekly, you can see this long-term median trend line, right? We come down to there, that'll be to tag this trend line. But if that breaks, it'll be very bad. But I do see us possibly coming back down to test this trend line, which will drag Bitcoin down with it. Here's the DXY. Look at the big picture here, guys. The DXY is still very bullish, right? I think we're just in the bounce area. Could we get a little bit lower? It's possible. Let's look at that in the daily and see what that looks like. So if we did get a little bit lower, we would probably come back down to test this wedge. So there is that possibility. Does it have to happen? No. Could it be bottomed here and continue up? Very possible. We've been talking about this for a while. I do think this is a possible wave one. Unless this is broken, this can still be wave one. It can actually retrace 100%. This being wave 2 down, 3 up to somewhere around the 109 range. Come back down for a retest of this trend line. If we do break up out of it, somewhere in the 106 range, and then continue on up to 114, possibly way higher. If you guys remember back in the 80s, most of you won't remember because a lot of you probably weren't even born then. But back in the 80s, let's go back here real quick. Let's go to the weekly so you can see it a little bit better. back in the 80s right here, the same type of stuff was going on, guys. If you go back, people were saying the dollar is dead. They're going to a one world currency, blah, blah, blah. Same type stuff, same thing over and over and over again. And people just keep believing it over and over and over again a lot because new generations, it's the first time they heard it. The older generations, we've heard it all before, right? Global warming, acid rain, tons of just crazy stuff. Ozone layer, it's got a hole in it. Same type of stuff all over and over and over and over again. So anyways, so looking at the weekly on Bitcoin, this could be a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't believe this to be an Elliott wave count because 5 waves is an impulse. That would mean if we did get 5 waves down, we'd have an impulse up and then another 5 waves down. But either way, this does look like a bubble pop. Right here is where I'm saying that it shouldn't go above if it does get a big pump. If the markets pump and Bitcoin pumps with it, 32.1, somewhere in this area, I do expect a major rejection and continuation to the downside. We'll see what happens there, but I do believe that's what we're getting. As you guys know, I've not changed my opinion since 2021. I've been calling this. I'd said since 2021 that the bottom for Bitcoin would be sometime in September or October-ish of 2023. So that was 2 years ago. We're still making our way there, guys. And I warned you guys, you'll get pumps, right? Big rallies in the bear market just to get everyone bullish again to make exit liquidity. Remember, if they would just sell all their coins, they would drop this a lot faster. And I'm talking about the whales, right? The big boys, the smart money. So they have to let it pump back up again so they get higher prices for their Bitcoin all the way down. We'll see this. That's how it happens in bubbles in all markets, not just Bitcoin, right? So I do believe we'll be coming back down to retest this bottom trend line here on the daily. Sometime, like I said, September, October-ish. We've had this target up here, this 28.6, 28.7. Remember, these aren't exact. These are areas, right? So we look at this as this falling wedge with the white trend line on top, yellow on the bottom. Take a measured move of the longest point of the wedge to where it broke. And what does that get us? That gets us at 28.6, 28.5, where we've been having major resistance. Now, I have been talking about if we start getting up above here and actually open and close some dailies up here, we could be looking as high as 31.5 if this area can be broken, which it has not yet. So if we take this measured move from this dotted trend line to here, looking at this as a wedge, right? Take that longest point into where it broke the wedge right down here. That gets us at 31.5. We've had these targets for months as possibilities, right? Yeah, people just don't get it. Like, you put this stuff up there and they only hear one side, but I give you the points of if it breaks, this is where it should go. If this holds as resistance, this is where it should go. But people only want to hear one thing. If you haven't watched the video all the way through, don't leave a comment. Here it is. So if we do get rejected here, we start breaking back down. On the daily right here, we'll go into the 4 hour next to give you more, but this would be your support line for the daily, way down in this area. Anywhere from 19 to 20,000, depending on how long it would get here. Most likely, and again, this is on the daily. There's different action on the 4 hour, right? So if we get a bounce here, break down below, we're looking back down towards this 12.8, whatever. And then we have, like I said, I think the bottom will be somewhere between 35 and 9,500, probably most likely 7,500, but I'm definitely looking for the bottom to be down in these ranges, right? You can also see these higher highs right here in this long stretch, and then you see lower highs here. That's bearish divergence. That's a reversal forming, right? If you guys aren't interested in trading, before we go into the 4 hour, and then like I said, we'll look at the bubble pops and we'll look at Tesla. Definitely check out Prime XBT, by far my favorite exchange. I'm still in my short. My stops are still at 29.2. If I get stopped out, like I said, I'll be looking for that 31.5 range. And no, I don't try to catch every little bounce, every whatever. We are in a bear market. I look for shorts. And if you look at the chart, who has been more profitable? The shorts. Look at these shorts compared to these little pumps. It might seem like a big pump, 100% pump, right? But if you look at from where we were to where we are, it's way more profitable to short in a bear market and try to catch these tops, because look what happens. Anyone that's followed this channel know we made a ton of money right here. A ton. I could lose a whole lot of money, I'll just say that, and still be way ahead, right? So unless this all changes, I'm going to continue catching these shorts, right, all the way down. So even if you shorted here, you got stopped out, you shorted again, you got stopped out, you shorted here, you wrote it down, ride the winners, cut your losses quick, right? All right, let's go into the 4 hour. So here's the 4 hour. This is the rising wedge I had talked about last week, right? We're still within that. Nothing different, nothing changed here yet. If we do get up to the top of this, that's going to be around 29.6, 29.7-ish. We may even, if it was to get up here, if the market's rallied for some reason, Bitcoin would rally with it. You might get a spike above that or whatever, but you're most likely going to get a rejection back down into these areas. But what I'm looking for is a break of this bottom trend line. If this bottom trend line breaks, we'll probably go down to, it'll probably be a quick drop to 26.8, 26.9, which is 200 EMA. Maybe bounce back up again, get a nice rally, get everyone bullish again before coming down to possibly around the 25 to 25.2 range. And that's a measured move of this rising wedge for breakdown, right? That's what I'm looking for. I may start taking some profits on those shorts between 26 and 25 down in these ranges. But let's take a look at, like I said, right here is where we're at, 28.7. That's what we have to watch for. If we can't get above that, then we're most likely already going to start our descent. But otherwise, we may get a spike up into these areas. Now, remember, we have that 31.5 to 31.6. Could get a crazy spike, possibly. Just don't see it. But again, it doesn't really matter. If you're trading, you have your stops in, you're managing your risk, you'll be fine. So, by the way, on Prime XBT, if you do use that, you can use I have a link down below. You can use my promo code Savvy50. It'll get you save up to a $7,000 bonus. Savvy25 will get you 25% off your fees. They do help sponsor the channel, guys. So, yeah. Anyways, so if that 25.1 breaks, then we're looking for 23.1. And then this is in the 4 hour, guys. So this could take days, weeks, whatever, if it does play out. And then we'd be looking down to these levels, 18.7, somewhere in that range. This is this trend line here. Once that breaks, then you got support about 16.7. If that breaks, then we go down looking for our much lower lows that we've been talking about, right? Here's bubble pops. This is .com bubble pop. This is Amazon. This is the Bitcoin bubble pop, right? So as you can see over here in Amazon, you had a bunch of bear market rallies right in here. You didn't have that so much here, so it's getting all right in this area now. I do think we're going to roll over eventually. Again, could get a little bit higher before we do, but if you look at the RSI, same thing. False bottom was right here at the break of the weekly on the RSI. False bottom was right here. So I do believe I was off on the false bottom. I said sometime in February or March. We obviously got the false bottom down here. Still believe we come down, making a lower low, lower than this. Once we go lower than that, if you are scared that you're going to miss the bottom, although, if you're playing with fear or greed, you're going to lose, right? So try to keep an even keel. Don't get too bullish, don't get too bearish, but a good time to start buying again would be under this low if you are a believer in Bitcoin, right? So anyways, right here, I wanted to point this out. This false rally was 115%. Although it looks smaller than this, it was huge, right? So this isn't even as big as that yet, right? So here's another one, Nintendo. And these are bubble pop patterns, guys, when markets pop. And I'll show you Tesla's in one too. And Tesla has much lower to go. But as you can see, same thing here. You had a huge rally before another lower low. If you don't think people got super bullish and said the bottom was in and it's going back to the moon because they were all excited over here, then you had this big crash, got depressed, then you got this big rally, then they were bullish again, only to make lower lows. Same exact area in Bitcoin. Now, I know forever I talked about the 55 EMA, but if you look here on Nintendo, 55 EMA, it broke, but it all came back to crashing down, guys. I still believe we are 100% in a bubble pop pattern. Here's Sony, same thing. Look at all the false bottoms in Sony here, right? Same thing. This one broke to 55 EMA, but rolled over and came back. Same type of thing, guy, over and over and over. Now, this one took a lot longer to bottom. So if we are in a big, long, traditional bear market, this could take a whole lot longer. So just be aware of that and be careful. This thing is not going to shoot up to the moon and you're not going to miss it. It's not going to 100K next year or this year. It's going to take a long time if it does. So here's Tesla, same thing, bubble pop pattern, right? I've had these targets forever. We made this back in September 22. I told you watch for these targets, 211, 183, 151, 106 for bounces. We got our bounce off 106. Next level, I do think we're going down to this 50 to 60 buck range. That's where I'm looking to be a buyer. It could go lower than that, but I feel like that'd be a safe place to buy Tesla for me. And that'll probably be sometime in September or October, along with everything else. Everything lines up, guys. Be careful out there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, smash the likes, leave your comments down below, share the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.